Hi, I'm Dawn Reese, your Hollywood entertainment reporter right here in Denver, Colorado. I'm so excited because I want to thank Clay Walker as well as Jazz behind the camera. We're going to tell you more about him in just a moment. I'm here with a fabulous, amazing talent agent. Her name is Karen from Lincoln Talent, as you can see, also with Marvel's Kids Talent. We're going to tell you all about the best of the best right here in Denver. Welcome, Karen. How are you?
Thank you. I'm really good today. Happy to have you here.
Thank you, Karen. And just Clay told me so much about you. And please tell everybody about your agency. And you know, you've got two. You've got an adult as well as children's. Let's start with the adult. And days that how does someone that wants to get into a good agency, such as yourself, how do they go about getting into with you as one of their agents?
Well, with the adults, it's a little different than the kids. Adults are going to submit directly to Audrey, who's our talent manager.
Okay.
They're going to submit headshot resume.
Mhm.
If they're what we call a developmental talent, somebody
Right.
that fits a commercial look and they don't have experience, we accept those on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
So that would be your first step. If it's
Right.
somebody that is really experienced like Jazz or Clay,
Right.
they come in and audition.
Gotcha.
And they show us, what their range of work is
Okay.
in a monologue or two.
That's great. Now, also, if they want to come in is there an audition process on the website, or do they have to call you for that time?
They need to call and schedule with Audrey. Like today, Audrey is doing 3 different auditions. We're doing Qdoba, and we're doing a CBS series that's down in New Mexico, as well as a VO, all in the same day. So she has crazy schedules, and she needs to bring the new talent in when it works with her schedule.
Right.
And so we never know what the day looks like sometimes when we walk in the door.
Gotcha. A lot of people think that there's a certain age limit for adults. They'll say, oh, I'm too old. This is for my kids. Explain, all different ages is really important. I've been doing this for years as well. And I know, give it, from your heart to theirs.
Yes, last week we had St. Regis looking for grandpa, 60 to 80. So we needed to have the attractive silver-haired fox as a grandpa for
Right.
the Aspen St. Regis.
See, so you're never too old to do this. How about print work for adults? That's another thing because it's a separate division as well. How about the print work in Denver? Is it pretty busy lately, or can you give a little bit of information?
50% of our work in Denver is print, the other 50% is media, 80% of our work is advertising, and 20% is film. So with 80% of our work being commercial advertising, it's international and national brands who are coming here to shoot on location in and around the Denver vicinity. So when we're dealing with international and national brands, we need to present a very professional picture. That's the adult booker's job, which is Audrey, the agent as far as it relates to the client, and the talent when you go out and represent the agency as the face or the talent of the agency.
Oh, awesome. Now, of course, they're going to ask me, and they always do you take singers? And that's another aspect.
We do, as long as they are able to do the crossover for media.
Okay.
And so, we want to represent people that are going to book jobs for us so we can take our percentage. That's how we make our money. So if a singer doesn't want to do media, no.
Right, exactly.
If a singer wants to do the crossover and maybe their print, that's okay too.
Okay.
Mhm.
Also, too, is you have the kids division. Tell us about that and what is the youngest that you take, and what is the oldest up to the kids that you take?
Babies are 0 days up to the age of 4. We always need babies. Suzanne's been here 26 of the 28 years. She's your baby manager.
Okay.
And kids are age 4 to 18, 17. And Suzanne also handles the kids. So most of the kids that call, or parents that call for the kids, are bringing us kids that have great personalities, are not shy and reserved, attractive kids, maybe character looking, and they need some coaching and they need some guidance on how to be professional and be introduced to the business.
Right.
So for 28 years, that's what we've done.
That's phenomenal because I get a lot of people on my show when I audition and they don't have the resume, or they've been to a major event and, they're like, they have nothing on that. How important is that to be with your agency, to have some training on? This is a really good point.
Well, it's like going to a job interview. So when you actually audition, the more information you can give the client on who and what you're about, the better.
Exactly.
So if it's not a full resume, there's details and tricks of the trade that we can help give that impression.
That's great because, there's a lot of people that, like today over at Starbucks, we saw this cute little gal and I said, oh my goodness, what did the dad say? I always wanted to get her in this business. And that's what we do. We get out there and we get them to the right people like yourself.
Yep. And part of the problem is that most parents know that they need to get their kids some coaching. They just don't know how to go about it. And then there's all sorts of wrong roads to go down. And sometimes we have those parents too, and they're always a lot more difficult. So you just want to be with a long established agency if you have children that specializes in kids.
Also, what about the parents that talk too much? What about the parents that come in with the kids and they're talking about the kid and you can't even understand because you're trying to audition the child? Has that happened to you? Any advice to the parents about being quiet?
This would be a really good question for Suzanne. Half the time talks to these people on the phone, you can just hear it's like, oh, she gets cut off.
Right.
So when you are calling the agency and you're trying to get the information, that's the time to listen, because the listening part of what she's going to give you for the audition or coming in for the sign is really important. And we are making all sorts of judgments and assumptions on how hard are these parents going to be to work with, just like the client does. So just remember, we're sizing you up as much as you're sizing us up.
Exactly. Also, too, your agency goes back not just a few years, many years here in Denver. Can you tell us about the history of your agency?
It's been here 28 years. I bought it from a fashion model, Phil Garfield. She was a fashion model in New York, and then on to Europe for Giorgio Armani for 10 years. When she retired, she came here. She bought the agency, and she ran the kids division as well as produced huge fashion shows here in town for many years. So she did both, fashion production as well as run the agency. And then I bought it 5 years ago, and our adults by default were being asked to work on these jobs, and I wanted to round out our talent book, so I just decided we were going to have a whole adult division, and we weren't going to call the Adults Marbles Kids, so the easy fix for that was just to use my last name. So for 5 years we have been developing our adult book with some fabulous actors, great talent. We've really this last year been super busy with the adults, and it's been really gratifying to see their success.
You know, people want to know, of course, like I said, I'm finding a lot of new talent. I'm at talent shows. They're going to be watching this, you know, on the Crazy Baby TV as well as the other networks that I'm on with Home Team. And, you know, a lot of people want to know as well, how does someone like you, I mean, how did you start out in the business? Did you start as an actress way back when, and how did you get into wanting to be an agent?
By default. No, I was on camera talent, and I was one of these kids that didn't have an agency like this available to me, so I was in theater and performing, and I got my break in college. So I went out and auditioned for an NBC TV series, Northern Exposure, and was the second girl they booked for A Doctor in a Bikini with Fleischman, who was the doctor, and that was cast by a casting director that said, let me get you an agent. And that's just like everything went super fast, and it was a lot of film and TV as well as some commercial work. So when I moved to Denver, it was a little bit of a shock because I came from a very busy market, like many of you out there, and Denver is about 1/3 of what the Northwest market was. So Denver's not as busy. It is a very busy and active market, but not if you're going to compare it to some larger markets. So.
What about some of the work that you've done here? Can you kind of give a little bit of a hint to some of the print work and some of the commercials that you've worked on, your resume, just so people know?
Mine personally or the agency?
The agency.
Okay.
And both.
So we'll just stick to the agency right now. TGI Fridays, St. Regis, the CBS TV series, which is a series down in New Mexico, 3 or 4 feature films, voiceover project that just came in today. Suzanne's got a catalog shoot auditioning tomorrow, so there's probably about 40 different working jobs between print and media.
Oh, that's phenomenal. You're right in the heart of Cherry Creek area, which is such a really quaint place here in Denver, and if you've never been down here, it's just an adorable place to just have lunch and just walk around, some great history down here. You know, also Jazz behind the camera, when he came over to see me, we put him on camera as well, and you know, just watching today, having him come in, I want to thank you so much, Jazz. You also had 2 auditions for him today.
We did Qdoba, and he's going to do a little VO work for us for another project.
See, you never know, at the right place at the right time. Any advice, Karen, that you'd like to say from the heart to parents out there? Anything that just comes to mind that is really important from you?
If your child really wants to do this, don't wait. The main booking age group for kids is 4 to 12. It's always easier to talk to a parent about what our opportunities are when we have a 4, 5, 6-year-old. If you're coming to any agent at 12, 13, 14, they're going to be really reluctant to take you on because the window narrows. So don't wait.
And you have some pictures because a lot of people think, you know, oh, I'm going to send in a picture, or it's maybe going to be a copy of, you know, I was going to show you today, you know, something from, you know, Kinko's, that's just a paper. please tell, you need to be, if you want a good agent, you got to have good pictures, you know, but don't get the pictures first, right? You got to come in and talk to them first.
Every agent kind of has their signature look, and every talent is going to have a headshot. And we use a comp card with the kids because it's kind of a good crossover for the media and the print.
Right.
So we always have a nice headshot on the back and on the, or excuse me, on the front, and then on the back we'll have 3 different shots. Can you look at that, Jazz? So, and we want to show body composition, we want to show the child's personality, and obviously what their best features are. So it's our last impression with the client because this is how they're going to remember us. So the card stock, the way it's templated, the way that it goes with your resume, as well as how you're coached, is how that client's going to see you.
Can you give advice? Parents don't know, and I've bumped into this so much already in Denver, they don't know how much to spend on good pictures, and they're asking me, do you know of a good photographer? And of course I do in Hollywood and Los Angeles and in Hollywood, Florida. And
what would that cost there, by the way?
Exactly. Well, you know, we were doing specials at the time for like $75, $250 for actually 2 or 3 changes, and I think it was $350 at the most for, God, 5 changes. And you get them on a disc, and there were so many pictures. That was just our basic. You know, but I don't know what it is here in Denver. That's why I want to give people the right information here so they don't go out and spend, you know, $1,000 on pictures when that's not what we're looking for.
Right. So every agency is going to have what they want specifically. I want commercial photography because 80% of our work is commercial work. So if I present film pictures to a commercial casting, that doesn't help the talent. It doesn't help the client. So it's going to be very specific to what the market bears, and it's going to be very specific to how that agency wants to market the talent. So it's very different.
Right. So that's important. But you know, they're not going to spend over $1,000, right? Right. No. That's what I'm saying. Because I just want to make sure, because people are saying, you know, I want to get my kids in the business, but you know, what is you know, I don't want to spend that much money. And I know from as a reporter, I've done my homework. You know.
Well. I will say this, is that, you know, you get what you pay for. So what I like about how we do it is that everybody looks like a pro when they are headed out of the agency. Not only from a photography standpoint, but from a professional standpoint.
Okay, how about for the adults? The adults the same way as well, so I'm just kind of giving them information.
If the adults need photography, obviously we're going to point them in the direction of what their specialization is. Okay. If it's film, that's a very different look than the commercial. Right. So that's on a case-by-case basis. Most talent that comes to us has their photography in hand, and if it needs to be adjusted, we can make those suggestions at that time.
Very great. Okay, wow, I have so many more questions, and I just, you know, I'm here and I'm just in awe of all the work that you've done and helping people out, and I know that you've got more castings to do, and they're uploading over there commercials that have to be in by tomorrow, and so I thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you want to give your website, Karen?
We are www.modelingkids.com and lincolntalent.com.
That's right. And then for open auditions, again, tell them what to do.
If you would like to be considered by our agency, either children or adults, just go ahead and email Audrey at Lincoln Talent for the adults and Suzanne at Marbles Kids Talent for the kids.
Very cool. Okay, well, I am I don't want to go. I'm having so much fun here.
You should work here.
I know. I love it here. I feel so at home, especially in Cherry Creek. I want to thank Jazz. Jazz, what was your production company? Jazzy Productions for helping us out today. We're really excited to bring you the best of the best in town. Anything else that you want to come to mind just before we close? Anything else that is an important, important, use that for a blooper, important part of this show that people may want to know something else? Anything else that comes to mind?
I would like to thank Jazz because he is one of my talent, and I think a lot of the talent that we represent are very multi-talented. Right. Audrey is a very polished actress herself, and my staff, Suzanne, because Suzanne, Audrey, the coaches, they are all a part of the agency. I just get the privilege of owning it. So thank you to my staff and my talent that may be watching this.
That's right. Now, also, if there's a producer, a casting director that is coming into town that has a movie, of course, that we need you to call Karen. And Karen, what is your number? Because you've got the talent for them. And there's a lot of them out there that are watching as well.
303-322-5004 is the agency number.
So say Dawn Reese Show sent me, and we'll be back with more of the Winning at Showbiz Connection and be discovered. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.